Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is enjoying their day. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Kyle Abbott's downfall opens the door for Claire and Holden. The Young and the Restless spoilers document that Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, couldn't let it go. He's still angry about what happened between him and Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, when they worked for Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, at Glissade. Get updates on the latest news about the Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? But rather than ignore Audra, as Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, hoped he would, Kyle went to Kane Ashby's, Billy Flynn, estate in France earlier this summer with the intention of trapping Audra. She held the same recklessly stubborn attitude, believing a trap could be set. Both characters find themselves having disturbed their claimed loved ones, Claire and Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, which puts those relationships at risk of being lost. Similar to Kane, Kyle's life will remain unstable until he's willing to admit that his approach was wrong and then try to make amends if that's possible by those points in the plot. Letting go isn't easy in Genoa City. Kyle had no reason to engage with Audra earlier this year. But he wanted to pay her back for the Glissade debacle. Rather than focusing on Claire and realizing that fighting with Audra would lead him in a needlessly foolish direction, he dug in. Simultaneously, Audra did the same. What is this? However, Audra's reasons for paying Kyle back remained buried in her true feelings. As Nate is coming to realize, she still feels strongly for Kyle. That puts Nate in second position with someone he now believes is also untrustworthy. Nate Hastings needs more than a friend. Audra should be thankful that Nate put up with her edgy personality. She isn't the only woman in Genoa City, Wisconsin, who finds Nate attractive. He committed to Audra during a period when she only had the backing of one true friend, Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. Nate's proven many times that he sees Audra's good side and offered her the type of stability she never had while in that dysfunctional relationship with Tucker McCall, Trevor St. John. Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, is grieving the loss of Cole Howard, J. Eddie Peck, as is her daughter, Claire. It's easy to project Victoria and Nate's friendship and shared respect developing into something more shortly. Claire Newman is vulnerable, and Holden Novak is interested. Claire reclaimed the life that her evil great-aunt, Jordan Howard, Colleen Zenk, stole from her. She thought she had realized a first love with Kyle that was leading to a long-term relationship, eventual marriage, and children. But Claire's inexperience with romance caused her to be unrealistic. Ironically, her grandfather's suspicions will be proven partially true. Kyle never sought to betray Claire, but it's going to appear that way, which implies a rebound to Holden Novak, Nathan Owens. What is this? Damian Keynes, Jermaine Rivers, death shocked Holden when he learned about it through Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil. So, he finds himself grieving a friend's loss, though he considered their friendship over by the time Damian died. Holden was tasked by Kane to ingratiate himself with the GC players. But Keynes decided to abandon his grand plan, and Holden is developing feelings for Claire. So, they project as a future pairing. This site is a leading source for everything linked to the Young and the Restless. Check back regularly for Y&R spoilers and news. Face screaming in fear, Kyle Abbott's shocking collapse. Will Claire and Holden rise from the ashes in Genoa City? Genoa City is in utter chaos as Kyle Abbott, one of the most influential young businessmen in town, experiences a shocking public collapse that has left residents reeling and the Newman-Abbott empire shaken to its core. The events leading up to this dramatic unraveling have been years in the making, with tension simmering quietly beneath the surface before exploding into a full-blown crisis. In what many are calling the most dramatic chapter in Kyle's life, his personal and professional worlds have collided, leaving everyone around him scrambling to pick up the pieces. For months, Kyle has been under immense pressure. The Abbott family business has faced mounting competition, and Kyle's recent decisions have sparked heated debates at board meetings and in private family discussions. Observers close to the family report that Kyle's once steady demeanor has been increasingly fragile, marked by long nights and intense arguments with his father, Jack Abbott. As if the corporate pressure weren't enough, Kyle's personal life has also been in turmoil. His marriage with Summer has been strained, and rumors of secret alliances and hidden agendas have only fueled the fire. The tipping point came earlier this week during a high-stakes business presentation that Kyle had been preparing for over several months. Sources from within Jabot have described the scene as utterly devastating, as Kyle faltered in front of key investors, stumbling over slides and losing track of his own talking points. Witnesses say he appeared pale, shaky, and distracted, and by the end of the presentation, murmurs of concern had rippled throughout the room. What started as a minor misstep quickly escalated into a full-blown public display of vulnerability, and it was clear that Kyle's carefully maintained composure had cracked under pressure. The fallout has been immediate. Shareholders expressed concern over Kyle's ability to lead, with whispers of a possible temporary leave or even a permanent shift in responsibilities. Analysts are already speculating about the impact on Abbott family holdings, and social media erupted with fans and critics debating whether Kyle can recover or if this marks the beginning of a steep decline. The once celebrated young executive is now at the center of a storm that could redefine his career and his life. Amid this chaos, Claire and Holden, longtime friends and confidants of Kyle, have emerged as pivotal figures in the unfolding drama. Claire, known for her sharp mind and unflinching determination, has been quietly observing the situation, weighing her options, and preparing to take action. Sources close to her suggest that she sees this as a unique opportunity to step forward and reclaim a measure of influence that has often been overshadowed by the larger-than-life Abbott-Newman dynamics. Meanwhile, Holden, whose loyalty and ingenuity have earned him a respected place in Genoa City's inner circle, is rumored to be devising strategies to stabilize the personal and professional fallout of Kyle's collapse. Observers are left wondering whether these two figures can seize the moment and rise from the ashes, or whether they too will be engulfed in the ongoing turmoil. The tension is not limited to boardrooms and corporate offices. Kyle's personal relationships are hanging by a thread. Summer, who has stood by him through thick and thin, has reportedly been in emotional turmoil, trying to navigate her own heartbreak while supporting her husband. Friends and family members are divided on how best to help, with some advocating for firm intervention and others urging patience. Even Jack Abbott, who has always maintained a strict but supportive stance toward his son, appears shaken by the intensity of the events. Insiders say he has called emergency meetings and consulted with family lawyers and financial advisors, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Adding to the drama are whispers of external interference. Genoa City has long been a hotbed for power plays and secret machinations, and many suspect that rival factions may be waiting in the wings, eager to capitalize on Kyle's vulnerability. Whether it's a competitor at Jabot, a disgruntled business partner, or a hidden adversary from the Newman camp, the potential for sabotage is high. Analysts warn that any misstep by Kyle could provide the perfect opening for ambitious players to claim the upper hand. This external pressure only heightens the stakes, leaving Kyle with seemingly impossible choices and the weight of Genoa City's expectations on his shoulders. Amid the corporate intrigue and personal heartbreak, the media frenzy has been relentless. Every misstep, hesitation, or flustered moment is dissected and broadcast across every platform, amplifying the stress and isolating Kyle further. Social media users have been quick to comment, with hashtags like #KyleCollapse trending locally and sparking heated debates about the future of Jabot and the Abbott family. Opinion pieces in local publications are questioning Kyle's readiness for leadership and speculating about potential replacements or interventions. The scrutiny has been brutal, and the public's fascination with Kyle's predicament shows no signs of abating. For Claire and Holden, the timing could not be more critical. Their history with Kyle, filled with moments of trust, betrayal, and complex friendship dynamics, places them in a position of both influence and responsibility. Claire's strategic mind and Holden's resourcefulness may offer the perfect counterbalance to Kyle's current fragility. Rumors suggest that Claire is considering an aggressive approach, perhaps positioning herself as a mediator or even a temporary overseer of certain operations, while Holden may take on the more behind-the-scenes role of stabilizing Kyle's mental and emotional state. Their actions could very well determine whether Kyle recovers, whether they rise in prominence, or whether the entire situation spirals further out of control. The personal stakes are equally compelling. Kyle's sense of identity and self-worth is deeply tied to his ability to lead and succeed. The collapse threatens not only his professional reputation but also his self-confidence and relationships. Friends close to him report that he has been struggling with sleepless nights, bouts of anxiety, and moments of self-doubt, all of which have contributed to the public unraveling. Summer's support has been unwavering, but even she has acknowledged the challenge of balancing empathy with the need for decisive action. As the city watches, the question on everyone's lips is whether Kyle can find the resilience to reclaim his footing, or whether the pressures of Genoa City's unforgiving environment will overwhelm him completely. Meanwhile, family tensions have intensified. The Abbott clan, known for its blend of loyalty and cutthroat competitiveness, is at a crossroads. Jack Abbott, faced with a crisis in both his business and his family, must navigate a delicate balance between intervention and empowerment. His decisions in the coming days could shape the trajectory of Kyle's recovery, or accelerate his downfall. Sisters and extended family members have weighed in privately, with opinions varying widely, creating an intricate web of alliances and rivalries that only heightens the sense of impending drama. As the city waits with bated breath, speculation about potential outcomes runs rampant. Some insiders predict a dramatic reconciliation with family and a triumphant return to form for Kyle, fueled by the support of Claire, Holden, and a revitalized Summer. Others fear a more tragic outcome, where professional missteps and emotional strain compound, leaving Kyle vulnerable to both internal and external threats. The stakes are immense, and every decision, every conversation, every interaction could tip the balance. Public sentiment is equally divided. Some residents express sympathy and encouragement, eager to see a young man recover from adversity. Others are less forgiving, viewing Kyle's collapse as a cautionary tale about entitlement, pressure, and the fragility of public personas. The media coverage amplifies every angle, creating a pressure cooker of expectation and scrutiny that leaves little room for private reflection or recovery. It is within this crucible that Claire and Holden must operate, carefully calibrating their moves to protect Kyle while also advancing their own positions. As the story continues to unfold, the narrative of rise, fall, and potential redemption remains at the forefront. Kyle's collapse is more than just a business setback, it is a personal, emotional, and societal event with far-reaching implications. Claire and Holden's potential rise from the ashes is equally significant, symbolizing hope, strategy, and the human capacity to turn adversity into opportunity. Every resident of Genoa City has a vested interest in the outcome, from investors to family members to casual onlookers, each adding to the pressure and drama of the unfolding saga. Analysts and insiders alike are closely monitoring each interaction, meeting, and decision. Every move is analyzed for signs of strength, vulnerability, or hidden agendas. The city's social and professional networks buzz with speculation, creating a sense of immediacy and intensity that few situations in recent memory have matched. The combination of personal crisis, professional pressure, and public scrutiny makes this a story that is not just about one man, but about the entire ecosystem of Genoa City, reflecting the interwoven dynamics of ambition, loyalty, and human resilience. As the days progress, the key question remains, will Kyle Abbott find the fortitude to regain his footing, or will the pressures of family expectations, corporate responsibility, and public scrutiny prove too much? And in the midst of this turmoil, can Claire and Holden successfully rise, seizing the opportunity to secure influence and stability in a city defined by ambition and intrigue? The answers will define not only the next chapter of Kyle's life but also the trajectory of Genoa City itself, setting the stage for dramatic developments, unexpected alliances, and heart-stopping twists that could change the landscape forever. The coming weeks promise to be among the most intense and unpredictable in recent memory. With every move scrutinized, every word dissected, and every relationship tested, Kyle Abbott's story is far from over. His collapse may mark a turning point, but it is also a catalyst for transformation, offering Claire, Holden, and others the chance to step into roles that could redefine power, loyalty, and influence in Genoa City. Fans and residents alike are bracing for a roller coaster of events, knowing that the fallout from this moment will ripple across both personal and professional spheres for months to come. In the end, one thing is certain: Genoa City will never look at Kyle Abbott, or Claire and Holden, the same way again. Their fates are intertwined in a dramatic dance of power, vulnerability, and opportunity, creating a storyline that is as riveting as it is unpredictable. As viewers, analysts, and citizens wait with bated breath, the question remains: will this be a story of collapse and tragedy, or one of resilience and rise? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: Genoa City is witnessing a saga that will be talked about for years to come, a story of human ambition, fragility, and the relentless pursuit of redemption. Fire, Y&R bombshell. Kyle Abbott's downfall clears the way for Claire and Holden's power play. Genoa City is reeling after a shocking turn of events that has shaken the very foundations of the Abbott-Newman dynasty. Kyle Abbott, once seen as the rising star of the Abbott empire, has suffered a public and professional collapse that has left the business world and social circles alike in stunned silence. What began as a series of missteps and mounting pressure behind closed doors has now exploded into an inescapable public spectacle, leaving one question on everyone's mind: could this be the moment Claire and Holden have been waiting for to seize influence in a city defined by power, ambition, and relentless intrigue? Kyle's downfall has been nothing short of dramatic. Friends and insiders describe it as a slow-burning crisis that reached a breaking point during a high-profile corporate presentation that went catastrophically wrong. In what was supposed to be a demonstration of his leadership and vision for Jabot, Kyle faltered, losing control of the narrative and visibly crumbling under pressure. Investors, who had been cautiously optimistic about the young Abbott's ability to steer the company into a new era, left the room with concern etched on their faces. Some whispered that they had never seen such a vulnerable side of Kyle, a man who had always projected confidence and strategic foresight. The fallout has been immediate and far-reaching. Rumors are circulating that Jack Abbott himself is considering restructuring company leadership to prevent further damage, though sources suggest that his love for his son makes the decision excruciatingly complicated. Summer, Kyle's devoted but increasingly worried partner, has been spotted navigating a precarious emotional tightrope, offering support while trying to maintain her own stability amid the chaos. Friends say she has been in constant consultation with advisors, strategists, and even close family members to figure out the best way to help Kyle regain his footing, if that is even possible. Amidst this backdrop of instability, Claire and Holden have emerged as the most intriguing players. Historically seen as outsiders to the core Abbott-Newman power struggles, the duo's patience, strategic thinking, and subtle maneuvering have positioned them as key figures who could capitalize on Kyle's misfortune. Claire, known for her sharp intellect, unflinching determination, and knack for reading people, is reportedly planning moves that could see her step into a position of influence that few saw coming. Meanwhile, Holden, whose loyalty, resourcefulness, and ability to anticipate complex dynamics have earned him respect throughout Genoa City, is rumored to be orchestrating behind-the-scenes strategies to stabilize key relationships, secure strategic alliances, and assert his influence in ways that could permanently shift the power balance. The collapse of Kyle has not only affected corporate circles but also reshaped the social landscape of Genoa City. Once admired as a rising star and symbol of Abbott resilience, Kyle now faces scrutiny from every corner. Social media platforms are ablaze with reactions ranging from sympathy to harsh criticism. Hashtags like #KyleCollapse and #Abbott'sInCrisis have dominated trending lists, reflecting the public's fascination and concern. Meanwhile, local media outlets are dissecting every statement, body language cue, and strategic decision, turning what could have been a private struggle into a citywide spectacle. This environment of scrutiny and uncertainty has created the perfect conditions for Claire and Holden to make their move. Insiders suggest that Claire has been carefully evaluating opportunities, considering both personal and professional advantages that could arise from Kyle's missteps. While some fear she may overreach, others argue that her intellect, foresight, and ability to anticipate the moves of key players like Jack Abbott, Victor Newman, and Summer give her a unique edge. Meanwhile, Holden is said to be quietly cultivating allies, leveraging relationships across business, media, and social networks to position himself as a stabilizing force, and perhaps a kingmaker, at a moment when power dynamics are more fluid than ever. The tension extends to the Abbott family itself. Jack Abbott, ever the strategist, is reportedly torn between protecting his son and safeguarding the family legacy. He faces pressure from investors, board members, and even family advisors, each with their own ideas on how to manage Kyle's decline. The emotional weight of seeing a beloved son struggle is compounded by the reality of business stakes and public perception, creating a complex web of responsibility, loyalty, and calculated risk. Kyle's failure has thus become more than a personal crisis. It is a pivotal event with ramifications that could reshape Genoa City's entire power structure. Summer, deeply involved yet increasingly wary, has reportedly been torn between defending Kyle and acknowledging the reality of the situation. Friends close to her say she has been meticulously documenting developments, consulting legal and financial experts, and carefully planning interventions to prevent total catastrophe. While her love for Kyle remains strong, the pressure of managing a crisis of this magnitude has tested her resolve, forcing her to confront difficult truths about leadership, loyalty, and the fragility of human ambition. The intrigue intensifies when considering the role of outside forces. Genoa City has long been a landscape where rivals, competitors, and secret adversaries wait for opportunities to strike. Kyle's vulnerability is seen by many as a potential opening for calculated power plays, whether by business competitors eager to destabilize Abbott Holdings or by family rivals seeking to realign influence. Each move, each whispered conversation, each carefully timed intervention could have ripple effects, setting the stage for unexpected alliances and dramatic reversals. In this environment, Claire and Holden are uniquely positioned to navigate the intricate terrain, turning uncertainty into opportunity. The drama does not stop at corporate boardrooms or social media feeds. Personal relationships are under intense scrutiny, with emotional stakes as high as professional ones. Kyle's sense of identity, deeply entwined with his professional achievements and social standing, is being tested in ways few anticipated. Close friends have described him as vulnerable, introspective, and in need of both emotional support and strategic guidance. Claire and Holden, by contrast, are moving with a combination of ambition and foresight, using Kyle's crisis as a catalyst to advance their own positions while potentially offering the guidance he desperately needs. Public and media reactions have been relentless. Every stumble is analyzed, every private moment leaked, every reaction scrutinized. Analysts debate whether Kyle can regain his footing, with opinions sharply divided. Some argue that his collapse is temporary, a momentary lapse that could galvanize him into a more resilient, self-aware leader. Others warn that the pressures, public scrutiny, and personal vulnerabilities may combine to create an irreversible downward spiral. Amid this maelstrom, Claire and Holden's careful positioning becomes even more crucial, as they must balance opportunity with caution, strategy with empathy, and influence with ethics. The emerging narrative suggests that this is more than just a story of failure, it is a story of transformation, opportunity, and power redefinition. Kyle's fall has created a vacuum, and history in Genoa City shows that vacuums are rarely left unfilled. Those who act decisively, strategically, and with foresight, like Claire and Holden, often find themselves rising, while those who hesitate risk being overshadowed or erased entirely. The coming days are expected to reveal whether Claire and Holden can leverage the moment to secure a permanent foothold or whether unforeseen twists will disrupt even the best-laid plans. Family dynamics add another layer of complexity. Jack Abbott, grappling with loyalty and the imperatives of leadership, must consider not only the business ramifications but also the emotional consequences of his decisions. Summer, while committed to supporting Kyle, faces her own set of dilemmas, balancing love, responsibility, and the harsh realities of public life. Every family meeting, every private consultation, every whispered strategy session carries weight, as each player evaluates risks, potential gains, and the broader impact on the Abbott-Newman empire. Analysts and insiders predict that the next phase of this saga will be decisive. Strategic moves, carefully timed interventions, and the shifting allegiances of Genoa City's key players could determine not only Kyle's future but also the trajectories of Claire and Holden. Observers speculate that Claire may assert influence through both public and private channels, while Holden positions himself as an indispensable stabilizing force, navigating corporate, social, and emotional landscapes with precision. Together, their coordinated efforts could create a new power structure, one that challenges established hierarchies and redefines the city's balance of influence. Meanwhile, Kyle himself faces a critical choice. Will he accept guidance, acknowledge his vulnerabilities, and rebuild his position, or will pride, fear, and pressure accelerate his decline? Friends close to him report a mixture of determination and desperation, suggesting that the coming days will test his resilience in ways previously unimaginable. Every meeting, every decision, every public appearance now carries weight, with the potential to shape outcomes for months or even years to come. The implications extend beyond immediate family and business circles. Genoa City's residents, from investors to socialites to casual observers, are witnessing a transformation in real time. Every move is watched, every reaction analyzed, and every strategic shift noted. The collapse of a young Abbott, juxtaposed with the rising maneuvering of Claire and Holden, creates a narrative rich with tension, intrigue, and anticipation, a story that embodies the essence of Genoa City itself. In the end, this is more than a personal downfall, it is a story of power, opportunity, and the complex interplay of ambition and vulnerability. Kyle Abbott's missteps have created space for Claire and Holden to step forward, challenge the established order, and redefine influence in a city where the stakes are always high and the consequences of failure are profound. As the saga continues, Genoa City waits with bated breath, knowing that the coming developments will reshape relationships, power dynamics, and the very fabric of the community. The story is far from over. Each day brings new twists, unexpected confrontations, and strategic gambits that could either secure the rise of Claire and Holden or plunge them into unforeseen challenges. Every decision, every alliance, and every maneuver carries weight, making this not just a tale of one man's collapse, but a defining moment for an entire city. Kyle loses it all. Could Claire and Holden become Genoa City's new power couple? Genoa City is reeling from one of the most shocking developments in recent memory as Kyle Abbott, once the pride and hope of the Abbott Empire, suffers an unprecedented collapse that has left the city's elite and its residents stunned. What was expected to be a calculated rise to dominance for Kyle has instead spiraled into a cascade of missteps, failures, and public humiliation. His personal and professional worlds have collided in spectacular fashion, creating a crisis that threatens his career, his relationships, and the very reputation of the Abbott name. Kyle's decline did not happen overnight. Insiders report that for months, tensions had been simmering beneath the surface, hidden behind closed-door meetings, late-night strategy sessions, and hushed family discussions. The pressures of managing Jabot, handling complicated family dynamics, and navigating personal relationships reached a boiling point, leaving Kyle increasingly vulnerable. Observers note that his confidence began to waver, decisions grew erratic, and the young executive, once known for his sharp wit and strategic mind, appeared distracted and overwhelmed. The tipping point came during a critical presentation to investors and board members, an event that was meant to showcase Kyle's vision and secure a major contract that could define his career. Instead, the meeting descended into chaos. Kyle struggled to articulate his strategy, faltered on key data points, and appeared physically and emotionally drained. Witnesses described the scene as surreal. A man who had always projected control and poise was now visibly shaken, losing command of the room and leaving investors questioning his leadership abilities. The collapse was swift, public, and undeniable. The ramifications were immediate. Investor confidence plummeted, with several high-profile backers reportedly reconsidering their commitments to Jabot. Board members, some of whom had quietly been skeptical of Kyle's readiness to lead, began to openly question his judgment and capacity to navigate the company through turbulent times. Even Jack Abbott, who has always been fiercely supportive of his son, appeared shaken, reportedly convening emergency strategy meetings to assess damage control measures. Family friends say that Jack faces an agonizing dilemma: protect his son or prioritize the company's stability and legacy. Amid the turmoil, whispers of a new power dynamic have begun to circulate. Claire and Holden, longtime allies and observers of the Abbott-Newman saga, are now poised to seize the moment. While Kyle's fall has been disastrous for him personally, it has simultaneously created a vacuum in Genoa City's social and business hierarchy. Claire, known for her intelligence, cunning, and ability to read situations with precision, is reportedly considering bold moves to assert influence and shape the emerging power structure. Holden, with his calm, strategic mind and extensive network, is said to be quietly orchestrating alliances and positioning himself to exert influence behind the scenes. Together, the duo could potentially redefine the city's hierarchy, stepping into roles that once seemed out of reach. Kyle's personal life has not escaped unscathed. Summer, his devoted partner, has been struggling to maintain stability while trying to support Kyle through the crisis. Friends close to her describe a woman torn between loyalty, love, and the harsh realities of public scrutiny. Her attempts to intervene, to protect Kyle, and to restore balance have been met with mixed success, as the pressures of the situation escalate daily. Observers note that while Summer remains a source of emotional support, the stress of the situation is creating tension and uncertainty in their relationship, leaving Kyle more isolated and vulnerable than ever. Family dynamics add further complexity to the unfolding drama. Jack Abbott, ever the strategist, must balance his instincts as a father with his responsibilities as a business leader. Board members, family advisors, and corporate strategists all weigh in with competing advice, each suggesting a different path forward. Kyle's collapse has thus become more than a personal failing. It is a pivotal event with ramifications that extend to the Abbott legacy, investor confidence, and the city's perception of leadership. Every decision, every conversation, every move carries enormous weight, and the city watches closely as the drama unfolds. The media has seized upon the story with unparalleled fervor. Social media platforms are flooded with speculation, analysis, and heated debate. Hashtags like #KyleCollapse, #AbbottsInCrisis, and #GenoaPowerShift dominate trending topics, reflecting the public's fascination and concern. Local news outlets dissect every gesture, every statement, and every strategy session, transforming a personal and professional crisis into a citywide spectacle. Analysts, commentators, and fans alike debate whether Kyle has the capacity to recover, whether this marks the beginning of a permanent decline, or whether he might one day reclaim his former status. It is in this atmosphere of scrutiny and instability that Claire and Holden's potential rise becomes all the more compelling. Observers note that both have long been underestimated, quietly maneuvering behind the scenes, observing the machinations of the city's elite, and preparing for moments like these. Claire's sharp intellect, social acumen, and ability to manipulate situations to her advantage make her a formidable contender to claim influence. Holden, meanwhile, is poised to use his network, strategic thinking, and understanding of interpersonal dynamics to stabilize relationships, assert authority, and cultivate trust among key players. Together, they have the potential to become Genoa City's next power couple, rising from Kyle's collapse to redefine leadership, influence, and social hierarchy. The stakes could not be higher. Kyle's vulnerability creates a rare opportunity, but seizing it requires precision, patience, and calculated risk. Mistakes could leave Claire and Holden exposed, vulnerable to backlash, or even further crisis. Every move, every decision, every whispered negotiation carries the weight of potential triumph or disaster. Analysts predict that the coming weeks will be pivotal, determining not only Kyle's fate but also the future balance of power within Genoa City. Kyle's struggle is as much internal as it is external. Friends describe him as wrestling with guilt, fear, and self-doubt, navigating a storm that challenges both his competence and his confidence. Every misstep in public amplifies private insecurities, and the constant scrutiny magnifies the consequences of failure. Summer's support, while steadfast, cannot fully shield him from the pressures of leadership, family expectations, or public perception. The city watches, not just observing events, but actively interpreting and judging, creating a relentless pressure cooker that leaves little room for error or recovery. Meanwhile, the Abbott family itself is at a crossroads. Jack Abbott, confronting the limits of his ability to protect his son while maintaining corporate stability, must navigate a delicate balancing act. Siblings, extended family, and trusted advisors all weigh in, creating a web of competing perspectives and opinions. Every choice made by Jack, Summer, or other key players affects not only Kyle's immediate prospects but also the long-term trajectory of Abbott legacy and influence in Genoa City. The unfolding crisis has transformed family dynamics, business strategy, and social hierarchy into a single, high-stakes drama where the consequences of each action are magnified exponentially. As the city watches, speculation about potential outcomes runs rampant. Some insiders predict that Kyle may find resilience, learn from failure, and emerge stronger, rebuilding his professional standing with renewed determination. Others fear a permanent decline, accelerated by missteps, scrutiny, and emotional strain. Amid this uncertainty, Claire and Holden's strategic positioning takes on added significance. Their moves, decisions, and timing could either stabilize the situation and secure their rise or backfire in ways that alter the landscape of Genoa City permanently. Public sentiment is divided. Some sympathize with Kyle, hoping for redemption and recovery. Others view his downfall as a cautionary tale about the pressures of leadership, the fragility of public image, and the limits of ambition. In this complex social ecosystem, Claire and Holden's calculated interventions could be seen as opportunistic brilliance or audacious risk-taking, depending on how events unfold. Every alliance, every maneuver, every calculated decision carries consequences, and the public's gaze magnifies every moment. The narrative emerging from Kyle's collapse is rich with tension, intrigue, and opportunity. His missteps, while catastrophic for him personally, have created a vacuum in Genoa City's hierarchy. Claire and Holden, through strategic planning, careful networking, and an understanding of both corporate and social dynamics, may be uniquely positioned to fill that void. Observers note that their rise, if successful, could fundamentally shift the balance of power, creating a new era of influence, leadership, and strategic maneuvering within the city. Kyle's journey, however, is far from over. Every day brings new challenges, opportunities, and potential pitfalls. The choices he makes, or fails to make, will shape his future, the Abbott legacy, and the broader social and business landscape. For Claire and Holden, the window of opportunity is narrow, requiring precise action, careful timing, and calculated risk. The city watches closely, aware that these intertwined destinies will determine who emerges stronger, who falters, and who ultimately defines the next chapter of Genoa City's ever-evolving saga. As events unfold, one thing is certain: Kyle Abbott's loss is not just a personal or professional collapse, it is a catalyst for transformation, opportunity, and potential realignment of power. Claire and Holden stand poised on the precipice of unprecedented influence, ready to navigate the turbulent waters, seize opportunity, and redefine the social and corporate fabric of Genoa City. The coming days and weeks promise dramatic confrontations, shocking twists, and pivotal decisions that will leave a lasting mark on the city, its elite, and its residents. Genoa City waits, breathless and captivated, as the story continues to develop. The stakes have never been higher, the consequences never more profound, and the potential for dramatic change never greater. Kyle's journey, Claire and Holden's rise, and the shifting landscape of power and influence promise a saga that will captivate residents, fans, and observers alike, offering drama, intrigue, and suspense at every turn.